let's address some common mistakes or misunderstandings about technique on auxiliary instruments. So with clave, instead of just holding onto them and clicking them together, form a cavity with your hand and rest them on top of your fingers and thumb, like that. And then with the other clave, play right over the top, and you're letting it ring, and you're not only letting that sound ring, but you're also creating the amplification down here. I don't know if you can hear that on the recording, but it's working. Then you can also change the pitch of the claves simply by trading them. Most of the time, paired claves will have a lower and a higher sound. Depending on the song, your director might want higher or lower. Maracas, we often play like baby rattles, and they do have a handle for a purpose if you need multiples at once or if you need to play another instrument while playing this. But to play a maraca properly, you hold it by the gourd side, and I actually like to turn mine around sometimes because it's just more comfortable. So if you see a professional player playing, they'll have a V-shaped technique. So what you're going to do is you're going to go up and then down and back in. You're going to go up and in, down and in. Up and down and up and down. Sometimes you will need just a straight quarter note. But if you need that maraca shake. This tambourine has seen better days. The head is getting a little bit loose, but it'll work for what I need to show you. There will always be a place to hold the tambourine. I don't ever put my thumb in here. I don't think that's what that's for. I think it's for a mount. I usually hold onto the drum like this. And then if you have the tambourine held vertically, these are going to be able to, the jingles are going to be able to ring a little bit more. So it's the same argument about attack versus sustain. They'll sustain longer if it's vertical. But if you hold it horizontally, they won't sustain very long at all. You'll have more attack and the sound of the drum and less of the sound of the jingles. If you have an involved part to play, a lot of times it's easy to just go ahead and put it on your knee, and I have the drum resting on my knee, and then I'm playing on the rim. You can do a few different kinds of tambourine rolls. I'm not very good at a thumb roll, and in order to do a proper thumb roll, your advanced musicians would need some resin for the thumb. It's easy to buy, and you can put it on your thumb, and then you've seen the technique of, or, you know, you can show them videos of, and it makes a great rattle sound. I like to have my students roll with a shake roll, where they just hold it vertically and then do kind of a figure 8 shape. It's not like this, or like this. And if you have a student playing sleigh bells for sleigh bells, or any other Christmas song, have them hold it upside down by the handle, make a fist on top, and then hot potato their fists together. You see this one's a little bit of rough shape. There you go, that's your Santa sleigh sound. These finger cymbals are a little funny. I don't normally have ones that have these handles on them, but if you do have the elastic or ribbon handles, just hold them by the ribbon handles, hold them up and down this way, and then you cross them, then you pass them past each other. They'll resonate a lot longer than if you try to pretend that they're the same as a regular crash cymbal. With a regular crash cymbal, these have these installed handles, which I would not recommend. I really don't see the use for these permanent handles. In fact, they're very spinny. They're not quite on correctly. So I would just use the straps, which these luckily have straps also. And then I'll show you on the sus over here, but when I have students grab the straps, I don't have them, maybe for marching band you might need this, you might have them wrap their hands in the straps. But what I have my concert players do is I have them grab the strap like this and hold with their thumb and pointer, sort of the same way they would hold a stick. And then I have them match the instruments. These are a little off balance because those handles make it pretty tricky, but when they crash, they are not going to go straight on together. They're going to pass across each other. Just the lip touches the lip, and then it's actually kind of a process. This starts the process, and then you close the whole thing down as it swoops across. So here's our crash. And then you pull them back into your body or your armpit. I like to just go right here into my gut to mute them. The suspended cymbal has a good strap. I'll show you how I usually grab just like this with my thumb under, and then we play the cymbals like this. My knuckles are resting up against that bell. Inside, if you want to replace the straps on your cymbal, you might have one that's like this, where it has the 4 ties and you make a square knot inside. Those are great. They can come apart if you haven't done them tight enough. I actually had that happen when we were in college. Our cymbal player's knot came undone and he made a huge crash, and his right cymbal flew off and hit the head of the tuba player in front of him. It wasn't a good situation. Everyone's okay now, but it was pretty painful. So they look for the, I don't know if it's Zildjian brand or if there are multiple brands that have them, but look for the strap that actually has a pocket on this side that you put a ball into, like a marble into. And it's very tight. It's pretty tricky to get it in there, so it's not gonna come out once you get it done. And if you have those inside there, they're not going anywhere, and you can use your cymbal with confidence, and it's a lot less maintenance, because if you have these types of square knots, they're great, but you're gonna have to make sure your percussionists are double checking them pretty often. This one happens to be on a suspended cymbal, so it's not gonna need to be checked too regularly. It's gonna hold. Common mistakes on the suspended cymbal are playing right near the performer with mallets together, or playing too close to the bell. You can hear lots of attack. What we want to do is we want to play with the mallets opposite each other on the edges of the cymbal, and we're going to start slow and soft and build to our crescendo and then release. And again, they just mute, just like that. These are the types of mallets I would recommend saving for suspended cymbal. Separate out your sus mallets from your mallet instrument mallets. If you have some good yarn mallets that are nicely wound, they have strong shafts, they might be for vibraphone, they might be for marimba possibly, you can see the difference in these two types. I would make sure my percussionists know these types of mallets are what you want to take the wear and tear on the cymbal, and these types of mallets you want to save for only being used on bars of your marimba and vibraphone. With triangle technique, these clips are awesome if you need to clip it onto a music stand while you're playing a different instrument, or if you just have 1 or 2 notes to play on the triangle. But if you are playing the triangle part and it's involved, hold the clip in your hand this way or this way, and then your fingers are ready to mute it when needed. Always play on the long side opposite the opening and play right here on top, and you can change the sound, especially of a good triangle, you can change the sound based on how you play. So right here, I'm straight on at perpendicular with the side of the triangle. And if I change my angle to play this way, you can hear a few more sounds in there. So this is another view of it. If you need to, you can also play down here, but it also changes the sound, so be wary of that. If you're going to do a roll, roll in a closed corner. And mute when needed. I don't see a whip crack here today, but I did want to make sure to mention, if you have the kind of whip crack that has a handle and a hinge, and then it opens up this way, a lot of students will grab that handle and truly whip it. But you do not need to make the whipping motion to make the noise of the whip. What you should really do is grab both parts, keep your fingers out of the center, make sure your fingers are just on the edges, and then hold it nice and high above the rest of the percussion so the audience can see it, and then just clap it together when you make that noise. There are all kinds of videos of that out there that you can show your students. If you have your students playing tam-tam or gong for a performance, let's talk about the proper technique there. Get yourself a good gong mallet that's not just a bass drum mallet. A lot of times these actually have hockey pucks on the inside of them. They're pretty sturdy. And then you don't hit it in the middle, just like everything else. You hit it in the middle of the middle, and you'll not hit it cold either. You'll want to warm it up and let the instrument start to ring before you begin. So you'll just tap it slightly before your cue, 1 or 2 measures before your cue. Nobody's gonna hear that. And then when it's time, okay, a couple things. This stand is one that I would replace. In fact, I did order a replacement for it, but we haven't installed it yet. This wooden frame over here is our new gong stand, so they're gonna be able to see that during the concert. And just a bit of trivia information, a gong, a true gong, is a pitched instrument, and you would play multiple at once with a melody. And a tam-tam is an instrument that is just gonna ring how it's gonna ring. We're not paying specific attention to the pitch that we need. So technically most schools around our country have tam-tams.